All right. Lieutenant George, I think you want to hit the valves.
All right. So evals, we're gonna make that short and sweet. The biggest misconstruction about eval is I got an EP, I got an MP. That doesn't say anything. That is BS. Okay. If if somebody get an EP and they mop in water, it's trash. If somebody has a P and it has meat and stuff and big bullets, leadership, teamwork, it's speaking to you. Give me that P any day over an EP. The- because the Navy, certain situations, when you get to that command, you're not gonna get an EP right away. You might not get an MP right away because of the time you checked in. But give me a P any day that has meat and potatoes, speak about leadership, speak about my collateral, and about me. So I had to learn that the hard way. I was on the ship for 3 years. I got 4.2 MPs, 4.1 MPs, right? Because I couldn't overstep the EP that was there already, right? I went no, I cried. The CMC came to me and he was like, "Gee, why am I not seeing my package for you?" I told him, "Hey, go ask your senior chief." I was crying, and the CMC came to me. Well, not the Master Chief, OSC Abreu came to me. He said, "Gee, let me tell you something. What you want to do? You want to do nursing?" He said, "As long bring your fit rep from your eval for me. As long your block 43 says what you do, that's what the board is going to look at. They're not looking at P's, they're not looking at EPs, and they're not looking at MPs. They are looking at what you do, your body of work, and it's right in that slot right there. Okay. Also, you want to mention in your evals what you want to be. I want to do MECP, so they ask you like pretty much what you want to do like further along. So all my fit reps since I was a seaman recruit, it had MECP in there from Pensacola. If I wish I could put up all my evals, and every single one had MECP on there. So that shows that you being trending towards that from an earlier stage. But anybody else freaking chime in on evals?
I will say because I'm looking at our list and I see we have a sergeant, Marine Corps,
Yeah.
Iraq on board. So sergeant, obviously our eval is going to be different from yours. So I will say a takeaway from this for everybody, including Marine Corps, is just make sure that your performance speaks for itself. Do not quit on your enlisted career just to become an officer, because the truth of the matter is, um, I'm gonna say it this way. I'm gonna say it two different ways. One, if you're a trash enlisted, you're gonna be a trash officer. That's number one. But number two, if you do not want to perform and be a good enlisted, then I do not believe that you are going to want to perform to be a good officer. So do everything that you need to do while you are on the enlisted side and make sure you are performing. And you just do your best. Whether you get the P, MP, or EP, give it your best. And let the board read what you have done. So hopefully that ties over to Marine Corps side too. All right. All right.
Fact.
Next slide. All right, let's talk about some Navy program requirements specifically. So, if for the presenters, right, I want to become a Navy nurse, but how do I do that? Like, what school should I go to? What are the prerequisites? Like accreditation. Talk to me.
So I can start off first. For that, the requirement per the instruction is a minimum of 30 credits. For the listed, what is it, prerequisites, so A&P, micro, your psychology courses, they're listed specifically in that section. So you just need that or equivalent 45 semester hours is the requirement per the instruction. Um, for the prereqs, yeah, that one was covered already. Okay, your academic transcript. So for that one, you'll submit that from your either your current school or your JST through the military, just to see how many of those JST credits from your current rating will transfer into there. So for my school, I was able to get some credits towards my final credit hours because I didn't have any prior college. I came in straight from high school, so I had to start from the bottom and work my way up for college. Some of my credits from the Navy were able to transfer over, so I got credits for a few math class and then some electives. So I didn't have to take that for my college course, so it helped me get my credits quicker. I will say, if you are in my boat, I highly recommend. I started at least 2 years in advance. I was on sea duty for deployed, so it was very hard when I first started, but I really wanted this, so I was willing to put forth the effort to get what I wanted out of it. And then when I transferred over to shore duty, I was able to go to school consistently. My school was National University, so it was very accelerated 4-week program. So I was able to knock out my credits in like I think 6 or 7 months. But I will say, look ahead also for the schools that you will be applying to or plan to apply to. Please make sure that your credits are acceptable by that gaining college. Because the last thing you want to do is to be going to a school getting prerequisites, and then a school of your choice doesn't accept those credits. So just make sure you're doing your research, looking into the schools that you're considering to apply for to get that conditional letter of acceptance or that acceptance letter. And just make sure that those credits transfer because each school has different requirements for them. So the degree plan that you're currently doing may not align with their school, or you may have to take additional things. So you want to find that out now instead of waiting until that package is due and then you're not able to get into that school of your choice. And then for your minimum GPA, that one is for meeting the program's minimum GPA and course requirements is essential. So for the grade scale, it's a 2.0 or higher. Anything below that is not good. No bueno. So just maintain that 2.0 or higher and you'll be fine. And also, don't let that deter you. I was really hard on myself in school, especially when it came to A&P. I think I made a C on my lab, and I was really hard on myself about that. And when I went to my appraisal board, the officer, I was going to explain that in my package, that I was going to retake that course to get something higher. And they told me a C is not bad. Like a C still gets degrees. The board understands that you're full time. At the time, I was at LPO. I had a bunch of collaterals. I was shadowing at Balboa and going to school full time. So a C, they understood like you're still performing while doing all of these things and managing your personal life. So just give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up. A C is okay. They're not going to crucify you for a C. So that is not something that you need to explain in the package.
Awesome. Anybody else want to add to, does anybody else want to speak? Like, for example, I know you mentioned the GPA. Let's say I got a 2.8. That sounds like I can apply, but do I want a 2.8 or like, does that help me be competitive?
I was about to chime in on that because just you definitely want to still strive, obviously, for higher GPAs because it's people that's going into this program or trying to get this program that have the higher GPAs, right? But also they're not just looking at that; they're also looking at a package as a whole. So it's not solely gonna like knock you out of the box because you don't have the highest GPA, but you definitely want to strive for it if you can get it.
I didn't pass my ACT and I got selected because
Yeah.
I
I'm
call
glad you brought
me
that
scamp.
up. Yeah, let's talk about the
I
ACT
call
because that's significant.
I call me scamp because my wife said, "Babe, send me your package." I call me scamp, and you know she rugged. She say, HM1, did you read the instruction? I say yes. Let me say recommended. She say, why you calling me?
Yep, recommended.
She say it says recommended. I know you're an LPO and I know you're leading people. Submit your goddamn package, and that was it. Click. That
So
was
I
it.
think it's sorry, LT Larson here. I think it's important to remember that like if there are weak areas, your package needs to be strong in other areas.
Facts.
So for example, if your SAT or your ACT, your score is much lower, you are going to need to have better grades in those areas to make up for that. Because if you're consecutively low in all the areas, they will look at your package and be like, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure they meet the academic requirement to actually pass to make it through nursing school. Because that's the other thing. Yes, nursing school is the first point, but you also need to pass the NCLEX. And if you don't pass the NCLEX, then you go needs of the Navy. So I think there's a lot of loopholes that are missed in there. And I think it's very important that those items are also covered as well.
That's actually a very good point because that's something they do look at. They want to know, they want to believe that you're going to be successful and that you're going to do what you say you're gonna come out a nurse, and they like invested into the right people basically. So you got to look at all of that stuff.
We had a question. Someone's asking if they have an international degree, how can they move forward with that?
Can we, if you don't mind, can we save the Q&A for the Q&A? I only want to move forward through the slides before my non-pro cuts off on us again.
One last thing about the MECP Navy program requirement. The last bullet, it says minimum GPA and course requirement. A little tip: do your research, please. Study every school. I got conditionally accepted to ODU, and then there are other schools that doesn't have prereqs, such as Chamberlain University or Arizona School of Nursing. So please do your homework, do some research. Also, for the minimum GPA, it's actually from last year's instruction, they're asking for cumulative GPA, which means that anytime you go to school, it counts towards that. So it doesn't mean that, hey, I'm taking associates in the Navy. No, it means that before you join the Navy, if you ever went to college, it's going to count those towards your GPA. So for the record.
Oh, so you're telling me, H1, that I have to submit all of my transcripts?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Yes,
All
sir.
of them? Like from long time ago?
Yes,
everything.
sir.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
I'll just add one more thing too to H1 for the schools where you do your research. A lot of them offer yellow ribbon scholarships and stuff like that as well. So those are that could go into your choice of school as far as like digging into your GI Bill or whatever.
USF, go Bulls, go Bulls. The other reason.
So yes, those are also factors that play into your school of choice as well.
All right, since I got the Temu version of Zoom, we're gonna go ahead and go to the next slide, okay? Great points. All right, so let's talk about not so much program expectations, I guess, because we did kind of already hit a lot of that, but maybe just one or two presenters on this one. If you were to help me with a timeline, like we're already in what, March, and the packages are due July 31st this year. Um, where do you what are some timelines? What are some big milestones I should already be hitting and working towards?
So for as far as the timelines go, obviously once the instruction is dropped, you at that point your package should be crisp, ready to go. You should be almost ready to turn it in. You might be missing a couple letters of recommendation, which is normal because sometimes, higher leadership, they do take a little bit longer for that. But as far as your package, by the time that instruction drops, you should be almost ready to ship it off and send it. Around the springtime is when the boards are usually convening. So you want to have your package almost perfectly complete when you're meeting for those interview appraisal boards. And I think that's very important. And you want to have all of your supporting documents in there as well. A lot of the package, it helps to have a mentor to go through and kind of help comb it to keep you on schedule as well. But I think it's very important as an applicant applying to really kind of grind in on yourself and make sure that you are sticking to that timeline to meet the amount of time it requires to ship it off and get it to, I know it's no longer Ms. Kemp who accepts them now. I can't remember who's doing it now at the moment.
Her name is Lieutenant J.G. Barker.
Okay, so it's going to take some time to get it to Barker. She's going to review it, and then it's going to take her at least 2 weeks to respond back to each individual and let them know, hey, I got your package. So like those are very important things to think about because you're mailing this off. So it's going to take whatever time it takes to mail stuff. If you are overseas, I recommend pushing your package out up to almost 2.5, 3 months early to ensure that they get it. And also make sure you have a digital copy of it as well.
Okay. So you're telling me I should have already had my personal statement written by now. Is that what y'all are saying?
Correct. Your personal statement, you should have had a mentor comb through that personal statement multiple times at this point, and your personal statement should almost be crisp, clear, ready to go. You might have like one or two little baby tweaks, but it shouldn't be like massively changing your personal statement at this point.
Wow. Okay. So then I should have started my package last year for this year.
Correct. You need to, as soon as those NAVADMINs drop and you get to see what it looks like and what the changes are, you need to make sure to quickly adjust your package and get ready to send it off, because that's what they're going to go off of. So that package you should have been building for almost up to a year prior to submission in order to really have it like perfect, ready to go, ready for board members to see it.
Gotcha. And I just had a thought come in my head. Now, HN McCauley, or Seaman McCauley, he likes to procrastinate. So what I think I will do is go see Lieutenant Kern George, because he was able to help somebody get their package done in like 2 months. So I'll come see you, sir, and then you can help me with my package.
Nope, I ain't gonna do it. Nope.
All right.
Can I pass
Thanks
something?
for that, Lieutenant Larson. Oh, H1 Sean, you go ahead.
Yes, hi. So I got selected for November 2025, same with HT1 in that same group. I didn't start my package till the end of February because initially I was going to build my package, but I was going to give up on it. My background, I'm a dental tech. Now, if you've been a prior corpsman, I know how you feel about dental techs, but coming from the dental tech world, man, I get looked down upon on all the time because I don't know my medical stuff. But if you were to read my eval, hey, I'm the dental tech that's always going out to the medical world to learn stuff. But with that being said, I have 5 kids, a family, and during that time, I was going to give up on my MECP package. Around March timeframe, I stayed behind for work. I stayed till 11 at night, 10 at night, grinding, trying to put my package together, trying to make the deadline. And by the time when I submit my package, I didn't even have the SAT taken yet. I put in a memo saying that, hey, there are people in this group chat right now have received my package that I submitted. It shows that letter is explaining, hey, I'm sorry that I'm late. I'm taking it a little bit after June 15. I'll submit it after June 15, and I got it submitted, and I got selected. But if you really, really want it, I'm saying be motivated, be hungry, be disciplined, aim for it, go for it, get it. Thank you.
All right. Now let's move to some lessons learned. Now I know we can stay on this for 30 minutes, but remember, Timu, Zoom. So let me get about 2 presenters and let's talk about some lessons learned that you went through or that you've seen some say.
I'm going route real, and it's very, very quick. We said it earlier. We said it throughout this whole presentation. This is your package. You can take what people say, take into consideration. If you want to apply what they say, that's fine. But remember, at the end of the day, this is your package. This speaks for you. This is you presenting yourself for something that you want. So present what you want for your package. I will say one year, because I've submitted more than once, I took advice from a couple of different people, and I did what one person said here, what another person said there, and I didn't get selected that year. And I went back and I read that package. It sounded nothing like me. So don't let that happen to you. It's your package. Make it yours. That's my only thing.
Somebody else?
You could get from you could get a letter of acceptance from the school rather than a condition letter of acceptance. So if you get to that school and you meet all the prereqs, ask your advisor for a letter of acceptance saying you're going to start school so and so date. What that's going to say to the board is that you already accepted into the program. You're not waiting for any other classes to be done. You're ready, locked, and ready to go.
I love it. I love it. Anybody else?
Just add one last thing to Lieutenant George. A lot of people were asking about if they have multiple acceptance letter, should they just choose one and put it? I would just suggest putting all of them because it also shows the board that you have multiple options. So if the first option doesn't fall through, then you already have other choices lined up if selected for the program.
Absolutely.
I think it's, sorry, real quick. I think it's really important, and I mentioned this previously, have a mentor. The first time I submitted, I did not have a mentor. I went in like a tornado, not knowing what to do, not really fully understanding the instruction. I reached out to a captain of the nurse corps. She became my mentor. She made my package bleed, and I'm not kidding. She made it bleed. She was very honest, very truthful with me. And so my package, I owe a lot of thank you to her because of the hard work she gave and she put into me. So find a mentor, find someone that you really look up to that will really help you get that package pristine.
Love it. Love it. Anybody else? One more?
Yes, hey, don't ever let anybody say no to you because I know this was the very first MECP package I submitted, but during my interview appraisal, I was told no, you can't get other interview appraisals, but you can just submit the one that works best for you, please.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And then if anybody didn't answer that's a presenter, you can always put more lessons learned in the chat too. Let's move to the next one, which is common pitfalls and best practices. So what are some common pitfalls that you see people do, or what are some best practices that you would give? And some you already gave, but something that maybe you haven't given yet.
So common pitfalls. I'm gonna say that for corpsmen because there's the whole thing is going around that corpsmen always get into MECP. Those days are over. If you watch the list, there's everybody from different rates. As a corpsman, you have the access to the hospital, to the clinics. So when another sailor is coming from a ship or they coming from an air wing and they come into your space and outwork you, that's picks against you on the board. So
Fact.
if you're working on postpartum, get your butt in the ED. Go somewhere else. Go to psych ward. So show diversity in your package. Your work in your workspace doesn't speak to you on the board. What you do outside of your workspace that's going to speak towards you. Because a sailor is an operational platform and they're still getting time to come to the hospital to shadow, and you're still here in your department getting letters from just your department. That package come across me to the side. You're not doing nothing toward the package. The board is looking for diversity. They're looking for your hungriness. So if you're asking yourself, why am I not getting selected as a corpsman and other is getting in? That's your answer right there.
Very great point. Very great point.
Yeah. How y'all do it? The little clock thing? Yeah, I don't know. The kids doing that nowadays. Anybody else
My
want to
daughter,
add
my daughter.
any common pitfalls and best practices?
Yes, piggybacking off of Lieutenant George, I'm the LPO of Portsmouth DNS CCU. I'm the department LPO. I was told that I can't shadow in my department because it was a conflict of interest. Guess what? There are other nursing departments like MSW, MCI, ED. I went and got my shadowing hours because I completely 110% agree with Lieutenant George because you're a corpsman, you're versing the entire fleet. So please get those shadow hours in. And if you didn't know, MMCP Portsmouth Hospital, the shadow MECP coordinator is Lieutenant Commander Quinn. I'm sorry. Her first name's Lori. If you want shadow hours, please reach out. I'll get you connected with her so you can get your shadows hours up.
And you all have a symposium, a MECP symposium coming up too. So if they're in this area, they need to make sure that they're face to face.
Yes, sir. She wants to connect with you after Lieutenant McCauley.
Easy day.
Thank you.
All right. Any other presenter want to throw anything with common pitfalls and best practices?
Just like what they were saying, you know, sometimes you'll hear no, but at the end of the day, it's your career, it's your package, it's your goals. It's very important that you need to not necessarily be stubborn, but you need to push for your career at the end of the day. So if you're hitting no's, find that yes, keep pushing for that yes. You know, find guidance, seek that guidance. There's always going to be someone willing to help you.
Facts. That 2 months corpsman, undesignated, she heard a million no's. She was crying, she was in tears, but guess what? She never gave up. And I never gave up on her. And she was selected. A year in the Navy, she had one eval, one. She didn't even have a prims in her rec. She only got one prims. All right, one PRT, one eval, but she was hungry. She had a plan. She never gave up. She heard no from everybody she went through, but she was willing, she was determined, and she felt in the right place. And that was it. It was she took charge of her career. So take charge of your career, and you're gonna be straight. Don't give up.
Awesome. Awesome. Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, now we made it to probably arguably the best part of the presentation. I have not been monitoring the chat, so if any of the presenters have been monitoring the chat, are there questions in there that we have not answered?
Yes, there's a couple. There's one in here that says, "Good morning, good afternoon. I have a quick question. I have an international degree. How can I move forward with that?"
Crickets?
Hello, this is HM1 Chung as a command career department counselor. If you have an international degree, you need to uh, get it, how do I put this? Transfer over to America. You need to like speak with somebody that can assist you in transferring those credits to American credit. Uh, the reason I know that is because within my department, there are international students that have doctorate degree, bachelor's degrees, degrees in law, but they're unable to transfer over because the American school systems sometimes don't take their credit. So they would have to speak to a specialist to get that degree transfer over. Hopefully that answers your questions. If you have further questions, please refer to your LPO, or if your command has a command career counselor, let them assist you. If not, please reach out. Please continue digging for answers.
Hey, I'll jump in on that too real quick. So I used to be a medical officer recruiter, and as a medical officer recruiter, we dealt with international degrees all the time. Um, you need to take your outside of what HM1 just said. You can also take your degree to a local institution that is accredited. Now, that's another thing that we didn't spend too much time on, but you want to make sure that you find a college institution that's accredited in your area. Take that degree there, speak with the counselor, the guidance counselor, the admissions team. Let them review your degree and let you know if your degree is transferable. If not, then they can let you know what credits they'll take and then what you still need to do to transfer those credits to maybe that school and get the actual accreditation needed for here, if that makes sense. So that's something we used to do all the time. Again, on the officer recruiting side, is we would take people's international degrees and send them to an accredited program in the area and see if it met the accreditation or not. Make sense? Whoever asked that question, hopefully. Next question.
Next question says, "So I'm already in nursing school, but never took biochem, just general math and statistics. Would I need to take those separately then?"
I'll leave that to the nurses. One of y'all.
Sir, if I may, back a while, you did a nurse. How do I put this? You did 3 ways of getting into the Navy nursing program: NCP, direct, and MECP. And every time a sailor of mine in my department in CCU asked me, I will always show your video to them. And let me read that. Like I said, you got to do your homework. The school that you're applying to MECP to get the unconditional release letter, you need to do the homework and finding what their prereqs are, because every nursing school is going to be different. Like I said, Chamberlain and Arizona School of Nursing College, those are the only schools that I know so far that does not require prereqs. But every school is going to have their own prereqs. So please, just do a little research. That's all I have.
Like facts. When I went to USF and I sent my transcript, they took my biology and some of my common credits, and they gave me credits for chemistry. But unfortunately, I was already enrolled in chemistry, so I still did chemistry.
Yeah.
PS2, that's who asked the question. I will let you know that I am aware. I know recently with the change in the MECP instruction, you can actually have your nursing degree, your BSN, and you can directly apply for a direct commissioning. So if you're already in nursing school and it's for a BSN program and they already accepted you without having to do extra courses, that's great. Continue forward, continue marching, and just submit your package when either right before your BSN's complete or after, and you can almost do a direct commissioning route at that point.
All right,
Oh,
thank you.
Can I speak on the direct commissioning route for just a second? So I know Lieutenant McCauley invited me to speak at this because he thought I was in MECP, I'm assuming, but I'm going to do because but I also did that route where I did a direct commission. I just do want to warn people that if you do go that route, they do want you to have some civilian experience before you can direct commission. So it gets pretty difficult sometimes doing a direct commission straight out of nursing school. I did have to go find a job in the civilian world, and it was a lot of work trying to work that job and be in the military at the same time, in order to get those hours that I met the requirements to do a direct commission. So I just wanted to point that out.
Hey, PS2,
And
question for you. Question for you. Did you go through the recruiting district or did you go through MECP? PS2, did you
No,
get,
sir. So I'm currently.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
whoever was that just spoke, did they go, who was that that just spoke? I'm sorry.
PS2, Matthias.
No, the gentleman. Was that Lieutenant Hall? Was that
Oh,
you?
no.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. It was Lieutenant Hall.
Okay, yeah. So you went to the recruiting
Yeah, I'm on
side.
my way home from the air.
No, I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
I went through I went through a recruiter recognition.
Okay, I got you.
And
I
so,
got you.
right.
Let me clarify something though for everyone. So Lieutenant Hall did go through the recruiting district, which they do have nurse candidate program, and then they have direct accession on the recruiting side. However, on the MECP side, and this is why I say you got to read the NAVADMIN, there is a direct accession route for MECP now as well. So on the recruiting side, yes, you got to have civilian experience. That's a whole different pot of money. On the MECP side, I have seen people get selected if you have your full-time BSN, RN, all that good jazz, and you did not have the prior experience. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be that way this year with Lieutenant Barker, but just know that there is a direct accession route now. It's in the NAVADMIN for MECP. I think it started like 2 years ago or so. So,
Thanks for clarifying that, because I didn't know that that was an option from the MECP side.
yeah, no
yeah,
worries. No worries. So for the sake of time, remember Timu, we got about 5 minutes before this one shuts off again. So we're gonna take probably one or two more questions, and then what I want to do is do a quick closing remarks. So PS2, I see you got your hand up. What's going on, PS2?
Oh no, sir. That was the question. So if I need experience before him, if there's a difference between active duty and reserve, but
That checks.
I hear hot mic. But yeah, PS2, hopefully I answered your question, PS2. Yeah, for the MECP program, there is a direct accession route. It has opened up. Just know your package got to be competitive and you got to have your full RN BSN from an accredited program. All right. And then honestly, the presenters, if you want, you can answer the other questions in the chat. I think there was only one other question in the chat that I'll say. It says, does the appraisals or LORs have an expiration date? And the answer is yes. Yes, if you submit this year, you don't get selected, you need to go back and you can use the same people. It's up to you, but you do need to redo your letters of recommendations and interview appraisals. And as well as you're gonna have to look at your commissioning physical, because that commissioning physical, that form is only good for 2 years, if I remember correctly.
Can I add things that were mentioned already? And I'll be quick. So in the Navy Medical Facebook page, for the new NAVADMIN that came out, I know last year with the new change, there were addendums allowed up until the 30th of June, I believe it was. But this year, they will not be accepted addendums. The only exception that to this would be candidates whose degree will confer by or before 1 September. They may submit their package with a letter of completion with listed expected completion date and submit the transcripts as soon as the final grade is posted. So everything needs to be finalized by July 31st. There's no more addendums allowed after that date. And then another thing I wanted to touch on, so with the new BBA thing, there's an exemption to policy that came out in a new instruction. I think it was in January of this year. So for those of you that are E5s up for E6 or E6s up for chief, what essentially what will happen is you'll still take your advancement exam. Once you're selected for the next rank, you'll submit an exemption to policy to your OIC. So wherever your TAD to, it'll go through your admin up to the OIC. And it's up to the CO's discretion for them to sign off on for you.
HT when you're muted.
Uh-oh, you went mute.
I'm sorry, can you hear me? What was the last thing you heard?
Some about BBA?
Okay, yes. So for BBA, there's an exemption to policy that you would submit. So for those of us that can't carry out the orders to put on the next rank, you would just submit an exception of policy to your OIC, and then once it comes back signed, then you'll be able to promote to the next rank because we can't carry out orders, being that we're TAD to school. So since we're allowed to promote throughout the program until we commission.
All right, thank you for that. So with that being said, you all online have received a lot of notes. For the presenters, if you don't mind, if you could put your emails in the group chat. That way, everyone online, if they still have questions, they can reach out to you and email you directly. I wanted to go around and do closing remarks from all the presenters, but honestly, I don't think I'm going to have time right now because we're only like a minute and 50 seconds left. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you to all the presenters for taking time out of your day, out of your weekend. I always want to say that because money and everything else that you want, you can always get back, but time, you cannot get that back. So on the weekend, you could be with your families, you could be doing whatever, but you took time out of your weekend to give back to the sailors that are online. So I'm not telling anybody to clap or anything. You could do your little clock it thing, but I just want to say thank you for all the presenters for doing that. For all the sailors that showed up, thank you for taking time out of your weekend to come and listen. I think at one point we got up to like 38, maybe 40 people online, which is pretty good. So thank you for taking time out of your weekend. This shows that you're invested and that you are definitely wanting to put your best foot forward for your MECP package. I hope from here, not only did you take notes, but I hope you reach out to these presenters. I hope you continue to reach out to the mentors that you have. All right. And I hope that you just keep the foot down on the pedal. Don't stop. Do not quit. Do not quit. Keep going. Even if you don't get selected this year, you put that package back in and you keep going. If you really want it, that's what you'll do. Other than that, thank you again. I'm going this is recorded, so I will post this in all the groups that we're in. I will send it to the presenters so they can have it. And I promise you all next time I will use the right Zoom so we won't have to keep getting logged out. With that being said, thank you all for your time. You all have a blessed weekend, and we are out.